Hello and welcome back to Running on Pixie Dust, my podcast and YouTube series where I talk all things life in Orlando, but in particular training for the Dopey Challenge 2023, 5K, 10K, half marathon, and full marathon for the very first time. I am your host, Annika, and I deeply apologize for this week's episode being late, although all 3 viewers of you, I'm sure, understand. No, I'm just kidding. But no, to be quite honest, it literally just fell off the to-do list for last week. So here we are, better late than never. And we're still getting all the training in, so don't worry. But make sure you check out last week's episode for a week recap of... Did I word that weird? A recap of week 8. That makes more sense. Let's do that recap. And I think my Invisalign is also giving me a little bit more of a lisp this time, but still going strong on that. But welcome to week 9, post week 9 of the Jeff Galloway training program for the Dopey Challenge. In this episode, I will be covering how week 9 of training went, springtime surprise registration, student loan forgiveness, the medals were announced for marathon weekend, so it was kind of a big week. I don't have a ton to talk about for like running and training this week, but we've got like other fun topics to cover, so stay tuned. All right, let's hop right in. Week 9, we had 2 45-minute runs and a 3-mile long run. We were back down from our long run, which was 9 miles last week. So, and then it jumps right back up to 11 miles this week, which I will have to complete during the week on a weekday once again, like I did for my 9-mile run, because my weekends have been booked up and crazy because, well, it's spooky season and I'm booked and busy for spooky season. Don't text. That's like only partially a joke. I like actually love Halloween and I'm so excited to go to spooky events this week. So I'll dive into that as one of my highs. But upcoming races, I have the Wine and Dine Challenge in November, the Dopey Challenge in January, and the Princess 10K in February, and then Springtime Surprise in April. So we've got all the Run Disney races lined up, and I am doing the challenge for Springtime Surprise. That was confirmed. So I am really stoked. The Pixar Themes, I think I already mentioned this in my past few episodes, but I'm really excited. I think the 5K is Cars, the 10K is the Monsters from Monsters, Inc., and then the half marathon is Toy Story, and I think Buzz is like the forefront character. And what was the challenge? Why am I not remembering what the challenge was? Okay. Anyway, I'm really excited. So, gonna lead me into my highs. Registration was actually fairly simple. I think it just so happened that the Dopey registration that went so chaotic was just a popular race, and I'm wondering if marathon weekend will be the hardest race to register from 4 years to come, essentially. Because I don't know if it's the Dopey Challenge, it's the only week with a marathon, hence the term marathon weekend, or it was the themes, or if it was the anniversary year. Like, what really drew in such a large crowd, large enough to entirely crash Run Disney in a way that we have not experienced before, or at least I don't think people have experienced before, so not positive on that one. But I'm super excited. Like I said, I am a Pixar girly. I grew up going to Disneyland with Pixar. Well, it used to be Paradise Pier, but still had a lot of kind of Pixar things. And I think Monsters, Inc. was one of my favorite movies growing up too. So love it. Love it. Okay, moving right into my highs. If I didn't already say that, I'm such a scatterbrain today, and there's so much going on in work and unpacking still, and my to-do list is never ending, so bear with me if I accidentally repeat myself. But My highs. Now, this is a high for really not me, maybe. Okay, maybe that doesn't make sense. Let me back up. Student loan forgiveness was announced by the Biden administration, and as well as White House Twitter popping off. And my personal opinion that I'm not afraid to share is I am very happy about the student loan forgiveness, and I think it's actually a great thing. And if you have followed any of my YouTube journey, then you know I'm on a debt-free journey. 6 figures in student loan debt. A majority of it is private student loans, so it's not even being affected whatsoever by anything. It's been accruing interest this whole time. I've been making my $1,500 payment every single month since the beginning of the pandemic. And since I had to start paying back the loan, but also continuing through the pandemic, and interest wasn't paused like it was for the federal student loans, and the payments were always required. So we had that going for us, and by we I mean me. But I think this is such a great thing for everyday people, and it can help them now. So I don't have all the requirements sitting in front of me, and I'm sure you've already heard by now all of the criteria that will be enacted for forgiveness for those who qualify. You have to be making under $125,000 as a single tax filer, and then you can, if you're household or if you file jointly, you have to be making under $250,000, and then your federal student loan will be forgiven up to $10,000, and then it's different for like Pell Grants and those other loans that I truly don't know much about because I didn't have one. So make sure to do your research on that if that actually applies to you. Now, for me, I may or may not qualify. I don't know yet, and I do have one federal student loan, which I think is, the total is probably at $9,000 something. And if I did receive this forgiveness and actually qualify, then it would basically knock out that loan. So that would be a huge step forward for me. It would make a dent in my debt. Does it make a big dent? No, but would I be eternally grateful? Yes. And I'd be very happy. But even if I don't qualify and I do continue to stay responsible to paying that back once the lift is gone for loan repayment, then you know what? It's okay. I don't know. I would be very sad, but I'm happy for everyone who it does apply to and people who do qualify. So that's really great. And I think that's all I'm going to go into on that. I did kind of share a lot of things on my Instagram story. If you do follow me there at Annika's Paintbrush, I love sharing passion in Instagram stories because this is one argument. This in particular, student loan forgiveness is an argument that I feel I cannot lose. So my research and my opinions, I think, on this topic, this topic right here, are very strong, and I don't feel the need to defend them and argue with people who disagree. I mean, if you're sad, okay, sorry about it, but I'm very happy, so I'll leave it at that. Moving on to my next high, we got marathon medals released, and since I am posting this podcast late, marathon medals were actually released. What is today? It is Monday, the 29th, which is the day that my podcast should have been uploaded. But because we are a scatterbrain, it posted a day late. So sorry about that. But we did get to see the marathon medals before recording this. So that's pretty awesome. I'm very excited. It is an anniversary year. The marathon medal itself is a big 3-0 for 30 years. And the Dopey is a big 1-0 for 10-year anniversary for that challenge. And the other medals are continuing along with this very fun retro theme and are the more classic, fun Run Disney medals with their simpler shape. And however, the half is really fun in my opinion. Some people hate them, some people don't love them, but I will say I really like them. And is it because I spent over $600 to enter in this challenge to receive these medals? Could tie in, but I do think they're really fun, and I'm excited to have all of them lined up with my 5K, 10K, half, and full marathon, and then the Goofy Challenge and the Dopey Challenge medal. So I think they'll look so fun. I really liked the marketing, how they took pictures with them at Pop Century, I believe. So you could see all the kind of retro backgrounds that kind of went with the medal and the colors. So I will say I'm excited, and for me, honestly, I all I cared about was receiving that medal with the big Dopey on it. So I mean, I'll be happy with whatever they give me for the medals. I am kind of sad I didn't do it for the 50th celebration earlier this year because I loved the iridescent medals. Oh my gosh, they look so pretty together. They were so beautiful, and I'm still jealous to this day of people who have the picture with all their Dopey medals. And it just looked so good, but it's okay. It's okay. We're going to be retro, and it's going to be great. I really want to do like a separate kind of medal encasing for them, or some kind of showcase for them, and have like a Dopey corner. Maybe I'll put up my Run Disney medals on this wall. If you're watching me on YouTube, I still have moving boxes everywhere, and it's still chaotic, but I'm doing my best. It's going to take a while to get everything settled in because I am still working and I still have events and all of that fun stuff. So it's moving though. But I have to put up my medals again because I have my medal hanger that has all my Run Disney medals up to this point. And I got it off Amazon. It says do or do not. There is no try, I believe. Shout out to Yoda. And I just really liked that phrase because I didn't necessarily want it to be like in your face Disney, but like having a Disney quote. And I mean, it's Star Wars, but Disney. And I really like that. So once I put it back up, we'll be good to go. I want to have a little bit of a better podcast setup. So right now we got the moving boxes at my background, but I want to upgrade it a little bit, just a little bit. Okay, next high. Like I said, I've got a lot of spooky things happening. For me, Halloween starts July 5th, and I will take no comments or questions on that, but I'm a spooky gal. I live for it, and catch me at Mickey's Not So Scary, catch me at Horror Nights, catch me decorating my house and Halloween everything, running to Starbucks tomorrow, and by the time this is posted, it's actually pumpkin spice time, so this is insane. This is insane that it's already here, but also it took forever, but also it's still just August, so but I am, on the day that this is posted, I am going to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party, and I'm pretty stoked. It's kind of crazy how the parties literally started 2 weeks ago, I want to say, so there's already been like 4 or 5 or maybe, I don't know, there's been quite a few, and they've been all selling out, although I think they did open some more tickets for upcoming parties, so I could be wrong on that, but I'm excited to dress up with my friends, and it's a school night, and by school night I really mean it's just a weekday and I have to work the next day, but so that will be kind of rough getting up Wednesday morning. I did not take the day off. I do have to go and do my final walkthrough with my apartment. It's optional, but I really wanted to just kind of have an idea of what I was going to be charged as far as maintenance, because my dog Cinnamon, she was a rascally little wabbit, and she was a psycho puppy. I mean, as all puppies are. And while she was, how old was she when we moved? I think she was 10 months. 10 months when we moved from my parents' house in Oregon here to Orlando into my apartment, and she like chewed some of the blinds on the door, and I had a balcony with like a porch, and I would put her out there sometimes when I like needed to build something, or like when I was moving, and or if I just needed to like give her a timeout for a second because she was still a crazy puppy. and she would like jump on the door, and some of the, I don't even know, like the trim, I guess, like a crosshatch, it's not crosshatch, but it's like the window panes, I guess, on the doors. She like broke one of it, because I mean, it was kind of cheap to begin with, but I think she like broke one of the pieces. So I don't even want to know how much. I mean, I do want to know, but I don't. So I have to do that and see the damage, but it's fine. Sydney's such a girl now. It's so crazy how I never thought the day would come where she would grow out of her terrible puppy phase and she could be like a calm, chill, loving lap dog who loves snuggles and sleeps most of the day. Like, what? I never thought the day would come. Literally ever. Because if you knew the situation when she was a teeny tiny little puppy, we were all just bleeding all the time and crying, and I was wondering if she was going to attempt to unalive me in her sleep. So, or in my sleep, rather. Yeah, it was that serious. She was crazy, but now she's a good girl. So, yes, those are my highs. I will be officially out of my apartment this week and just in the house. Got lots of unpacking to do, which ties into really my only low. That's the low. Actually, it's not my only low. That's a lie. Unpacking is, of course, sucky because it's not only unpacking, it's organizing and structuring and buying new things, figuring out shelves. And of course, you don't have to buy new things, but it just, I think organization equipment really helps. So I also think too that when you first unpack, it's good to start off organized because it's more difficult, in my opinion, to go back later and then try and reorganize, which I mean, I'll end up doing anyway, probably to some spaces in my home because now I have a home. It's my home. It's my house. But I wanted to try and do as much as possible in the beginning so I can do all the heavy lifting. And by I can do the heavy lifting, I mean my dad can do the heavy lifting. So eternally grateful for him. He literally built my whole bed frame, put my box spring together, and like is putting up the curtain rods, changing like installing ceiling fans, and doing all the difficult tasks that I consider them difficult because I don't know how to do them, don't want to do them, and am weak and short. So it makes it a lot easier. He's very tall, and so he only needs a little step ladder, whereas I would need a full ladder and have YouTube next to me the whole time. So this just makes things go a little bit smoother. So I'm eternally grateful to have my parents here helping me and supporting me and doing so much. I'm so lucky and thankful. So I had to throw that out there. But let's briefly talk about my 3-mile long run. I won't take this episode too long, but I did want to always talk about the long run because for me, that's the fun part. And I will say the long runs are exciting for me, which is kind of crazy. I didn't think that would be a thing when I was thinking about starting training. This was like way before, like months back, but it's definitely exciting. I've said this before. It's like the preparation and then the feeling of satisfaction when you complete your training run, and it just feels so good. I haven't been doing very well on updating like my social media and importing everything into my Strava app because I have been tracking like every single run because I want that to look back on. So I need to go back, and while I documented it on like, Garmin and Apple Watch and took a selfie and stuff, I haven't actually imported it and put the descriptions and the numbers. So gotta do all that. But 3-mile run, and not even just my 3-mile run, but for also my 45-minute runs, they were my first runs in my new neighborhood. So it's always interesting when you're in a new place and you don't really have a set route to kind of figure that out. And there is still like some construction happening near my house too. So working around that and finding little side streets I can go to. It almost makes it even more exciting because it's like, oh, okay, where should I go now? Like, where should I turn? And how am I going to do my long run? Like, where am I going to go? Am I going to drive somewhere, or am I going to try and turn down a couple of streets to turn this into a long run, etc., etc. So that was very fun. And I think I have gotten down to like the end of the Peloton runs that I filter for, which I don't know how that happened, because my friend Allison, who I had on the podcast early on, she filtered it on her phone and it showed like hundreds of 45-minute interval classes in English on the Peloton app. So I was like, huh? Because mine only shows like 40, and now I've done them all. Maybe not every single one, but like the ones that are applicable to me that aren't like walking or whatever. So maybe it's because she has that Peloton bike and she pays for like the actual like full Peloton membership, and I only pay for like the workout classes. I don't know. But I did find one that I hadn't done yet. So did my 3-mile Peloton run, and for that one I do, for my 3-mile run, I'll usually put on a 30-minute interval class, and then I'll just switch to Spotify for my last like half mile or whatever that I don't finish in the 30 minutes, depending on my pace that day. But I really kind of make it a goal to be like, okay, can I finish my 3 miles in 30 minutes? Can I do that? And I know realistically, based on my pace during all my training, no, but but it's fun to like challenge myself to be like, okay, how much closer can I get to competing or completing those 3 miles in the 30 minutes this time? So stay tuned. Maybe one of these 3-mile runs that's on the schedule, maybe one of them I can do in 30 minutes. But with this humidity, girl, I can't run straight through. I do take a couple walking breaks. And because I'm doing the Peloton class, I don't do the 90-second run, 30-second walk like I would normally do for my long runs. I just follow like their intervals, which is like run for a minute and then jog for 30 seconds or whatever. And some of them they tell you, don't walk, you can do it. And I do still like those to like build up stamina and strength and as like a workout. So, but I mean, the weather has been really, really hot, and I haven't been running as early. I think I ran at like 7 a.m. all last week because I just couldn't get up any earlier because guys, moving is exhausting. And while my dad is doing a majority of the heavy lifting, like I said, thank goodness, there's still so much unpacking and like work and ordering and scheduling and phone calls and mental drainage happening. So with that, let's move on to my final segment, by the numbers, countdowns, from the posting date, which is supposed to be yesterday, but let's just lie and say that this was posted yesterday on August 29th. We've got Wine and Dine Weekend, November 3rd through 6th, 2 months and 5 days away. Oh my gosh, I say this every time. I need a costume for that still. Dopey Challenge, January 4th, 4 months and 8 days away. Princess Weekend, which is February 23rd through the 26th. We've got 5 months and like 20-ish days. And now I need to add Springtime Surprise. Okay, I'll add Springtime Surprise for next week. Don't worry. Let me put a little note here. Springtime, because now I'm officially registered. So there's that. All right, and pace update. I have been sticking around like a 13-minute pace. It does vary a lot because, again, I don't consistently do my 90-30 intervals on all of my training runs. I basically focus them for my long runs because I know I still want to get used to doing that because that's what I'm gonna do on the actual race days. But for these training runs that get kind of, I don't know, repetitive, I like to take the Peloton classes and have like the coach telling me what to do and follow their instructions. So too bad I'm going to have to start retaking the classes now because there's not any more, or I have to get to the bottom of this, why I only see like fewer classes. I don't know. But total mileage of the week, I will say, was about 10 miles. So pretty good. Next week will be insane. I have 11-mile run, and I'm a little intimidated by that one because now we're in double digits. We went from 9 to 11. Like, what happened to 10? What happened? But yeah, I'm scared. I'm a little scared for that, which is, it's only 2 more miles. I've already done the 9. It's only 2 more. But it's still 11 total. Okay. So, wish me luck on that. I wish you luck on that if you're following the plan or have the high mileage to reach next week. Good luck. But with that, thank you so much for tuning in and get moving.